Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Avisk and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be checking out a brand new, or still relatively brand new game by Roblox, which is certainly quite interesting. This basically means we've come now full circle, from Mad Games to Knife Ability Test, back to Roblox's next game, which is Sharp now. Welcome to Sharp, which as many of you guys pointed out is basically the new Knife Ability Test, right? Well, this one honestly is quite different in comparison to Knife Ability Test, and there are definitely some things which I'm not necessarily a big fan of, but yeah, we will get to those in this video as well. Let's start with the obvious differences. You can use multiple abilities at the same time, which means switching weapons is now on cue, definitely something to keep in mind. But as you can see, we can use laser, we can use hyper beam, as well as no scope as an example at the same time. Pretty crazy stuff, to be honest. But there's also now perks, which allow you to be invincible as an example. Or you could use the smoke bomb as an example, which would allow you to hide yourself basically within it. Oh, what I'm using right here, these are the in-game commands, by the way, for the private server, which are really cool, to be honest, and I definitely have to say good job Roblox here with those. So, as you can see, there's different abilities, which you can switch between, and these are very powerful in my opinion, and so far I have to say that I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of them in pro servers. But that's only like one of the things that I'm not necessarily a big fan of. Let's talk about some of the other features of this game. Firstly, there's a season pass, which you can unlock some free items with. Very cool, to be honest. There's also some purchasable items, but you don't have to buy them if you don't want to. There's only 4 game passes right now in the game, as well as some special items which you can buy with the in-game currency, the Mad Coins. We also have auras, which you can purchase with the coins, as well as emotes, which you can see right here, skins, which are unlockable through crates. Once again, very similar to Knife Ability Test. I feel like the Knife Ability Test players will feel fairly at home here. Then of course we have the perks, which, like I said, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of, as well as the abilities, which are slightly different in comparison to Knife Ability Test as well. So let's talk about that. I've pointed out that you can use multiple abilities at the same time, but there's also another difference with them. They give a benefit as well as a drawback. In this case, Hyper Beam as an example gives you short invincibility on kill, but if you miss, you receive fatigue, which you can see right here. It's going to slow you down quite significantly. The same also applies for no scope, which gives you speed boost upon kill, but also slows you down if you miss. If you happen to turn off auto throw, which allows you to stab enemies, it seems like you're at a bit of a disadvantage because charging your knife takes a bit longer in comparison to as if you would use it. So definitely something to keep in mind for the Knife Ability Test players. If you tick this one off, then you may be at a bit of a disadvantage. With auto charge, this is how fast you can throw knives. And this is without it. Yeah, hopefully the developer can do something about that, because currently it seems like turning it off is just, yeah, a disadvantage. Some of the other cool features include the career page with the milestone rewards, daily rewards, as well as the server browser, which is just very helpful, to be honest, as it allows you to easily switch between different servers. The inventory system is also fairly nice. You can trade, craft items together, get some cool rewards right here, and in general I think this is very nice, so definitely receives a thumbs up from me. Last but not least, here are the settings and of course the server commands, which I've already mentioned briefly. Very amazing feature in my opinion, very helpful for recording videos, so also receives another thumbs up from me. Anyways, that's enough yapping, let's actually dive into some gameplay now. Let's open 4 more so we can kind of skip it, and yeah, there you go. Those are the crates. Totally not an addiction that I'm going to fall into, definitely not the case here. And let's actually play the game now. We have Capture the Flag, and this is something I immediately want to point out. Capture the Flag isn't one of my favorite game modes in this game. I'm honestly not a big fan of it. And there's a very good reason for that, because most of the times Capture the Flag either turns into a very long stalemate and kind of a boring match, or basically it turns into a stomp where one team is just completely destroying the opposing team, which also isn't very fun, to be honest. So hopefully this is something the developers can like work on. It would be very awesome if that could be something they can address. Other than that, I don't have too many complaints. There's one small thing I would also like to mention a bit later on in the video. So let's now focus on the gameplay because, well, we're kind of spawn camping the enemies here and we are trying to protect our flag for now. Hopefully we can pull this off. This is not very good. Well, so far we're doing fairly decent. The goal right now is to maybe stay alive as long as possible. Well, they took our flag yet again, and we managed to protect it one more time, but I think we're gonna lose it here. Very unfortunate. Another thing I also would like to mention immediately is something I'm not necessarily a big fan of, and that has to be the use of multiple abilities at the same time. I feel like at least on the pro servers, the developers could maybe limit it because a lot of people are just spamming a ton of different abilities at the same time, and it honestly makes it sometimes just very difficult to kind of counter that. Also, the use of multiple perks can be very challenging to deal with, so hopefully this is something they can address with a future update. It is just something I wanted to point out, but I think in pro servers it would be kind of cool if they could like limit the amount of abilities as well as the amount of perks that you can use. But that's just my personal take on it. The game is still very, very fun, to be honest, and very enjoyable. It is genuinely something relatively close to Knife Ability Test, but with its own sort of features and, well, with its own sort of gameplay loop as well. So that's genuinely something cool to see. As you can see, we're doing pretty good, to be honest, so far. Getting lots of kills here. I can show you the abilities. This is the God Mode ability, which, well, turns you invincible, at least for one attack that would basically normally one-shot you. So definitely kind of a cool ability, but it is one of the most used one, because it is one of the best ones, to be honest. Oh, there we go. That was fairly interesting. We're just kind of spawn camping them at this point. Well, and there's a very good reason why it is used this frequently as it is. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. We're doing really good right now. Yeah, as you can see, the gameplay is certainly very fun. I think we're going to switch the teams really quickly because it seems very one-sided at the moment. So let's just briefly switch teams so we can help out the enemy side here. Well, now the enemy side, and we're doing fairly good. As you can see, no scope provides you with a speed boost if you get a kill, and if you happen to miss, it's going to slow you down. So that's definitely something to keep in mind with this ability in particular. Laser, on the other hand, doesn't really has like a downside, to be honest. It just takes a few seconds to charge, basically how it was in Knife Ability Test as well. Other than that, I think this way of implementing like how the knives work and everything is actually also kind of cool. So currently we're carrying our team to victory. Let's use our ability here so we can hopefully stay alive for a few seconds. We're not very much in a... We're not really in a favorable situation right here against the enemy team. Oh, and apparently we got stabbed or knife killed? I really don't know. It kind of looked like we got stabbed. Maybe it is in the game. Maybe I'm just not informed enough about that. Kind of looked like he stabbed us. Maybe there's a setting for that. I don't know. Okay, there's someone there. We're back on our kill streak now. Oh damn, 10 kill streak, that's pretty insane. The maps, as you can see, are either inspired by, I assume, Team Fortress games or basically Knife Ability Test. Not really too sure where the map's origin is, but this one is Sandtown, basically from Arsenal. At least that's where most people are probably going to know it from, so yeah, pretty cool maps, pretty fun gameplay. I'm not sure what this guy's doing. Hello. This game has been very addicting and very fun, and if you would like to check it out, the link will be in the description down below, so feel free to give it a try. In my opinion, a very nice replacement, at least for the time being, for Knife Ability Test. It isn't really the same, and there are definitely some differences between this and Knife Ability Test. Some things that I'm not necessarily a big fan of, but there's also a lot of things that you will be familiar with and that you probably will find some enjoyment in. I have no idea how the second one hit, but yeah, we take it. Alright, let's steal the flag really quickly and let's see if we can, yeah, make it back to our base. Apparently we got trapped somehow, even though I wasn't trying to go there, so that's very unfortunate. As you can see, Ghost Knife also functions very differently in comparison to Knife Ability Test. Unlike a Knife Ability Test, it basically spawns these ghost bubbles and they group up to form bigger bubbles. And at some point they will basically like kill you. Like if they get big enough, they will damage you and then you can no longer outrun them. Okay, interesting. Bro is just camping. Wait, the entire enemy team is just camping. That's fairly interesting. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Not too shabby. Maybe let's use Hyper Beam for a second to maybe like showcase this one as well. On kill, this one turns you invincible, which is a fairly interesting design choice. Makes it very powerful in my opinion because, well, you can basically stop the entire team like that. But if you miss, of course, it's going to slow you down, so that's also something to keep in mind. I have no idea how we're still alive, by the way. Oh. Well, now we're in trouble. The bubble is following us. After a couple of days of playing this game now, I definitely enjoy my time playing it. There are, like I said, some things I'm not necessarily the big fan of, but to be honest, overall I would say it has been a very fun and enjoyable experience. If you miss basically something like knife ability test, then this is currently the closest thing we have, and definitely in my opinion a worthwhile experience to play. Okay, now we're once again stuck. Oh, you just have to... you have to destroy it. Okay, I see. I thought you were basically stuck for a couple of seconds, but I'm learning by the second. I'm learning by the second, that's for sure. Alright, let's see. Oh god, who are you? Alright, there we go. And now we just gotta destroy that one because I just learned that, how you can actually deal with them. So, yeah. I've decided once again very wrong here. Well, but we still managed to win, so that's a W. I think we're gonna call it a day here. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you of course in the next one.